Let me first talk about myself.
I still want to remind you that you're watching Onyami Jesus Comedy, home for blogging, entertainment at the fullest. To Salomozia, Dolmozia, bam, bam, bam. Yes, I see Ozia Wanine, Kojem Banine, Burubulu. One day, Kedem and Cape Azra. Hey, Mbuteli in detail. That is, Mbutie Nuju. Buloche, Nolane, Gigenti, Nakoka, Makaka, Dokempa. Kedem and Cape Azra. Hey, you will not believe it. One to Salomozia, Napos Aslimia, Inekilia. Watch.
River State Elders Forum is also a different body, made up of elders of River State and the elders and members of River State. Saraigbe is also a different person altogether. Having said that, myself and some of my colleagues went to court. We strongly believe that the 8-point directives given by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to SIM are not in the interest of River State and SIM. When we said that SIM did not understand what we are saying as elders, today, the whole problems SIM is having today is a manifestation of those agreements. We asked him not to implement those decisions because it will affect him and affect the state. Today, those agreements he implemented by withdrawing his case from the court has given room for a Wike to take his superman, but not a superman. In a game of mafia, the beginning is not the end, but the end justifies the means. So if Wike thinks he has deceived Tinubu by telling lies to him that SIM did not implement those agreements, Wike is making a mistake. But rather it was Wike who came out like he did a few days ago after the party to tell the world that he will not obey Mr. President. And in his media chat, he also made it clear that even before we met with Mr. President, he has met with Mr. President and he has told Mr. President his own stand. And it was based on those stands that Mr. President acted the way he acted. Now, why did Pan-Niger Delta Forum went to Mr. President? Pan-Niger Delta Forum, made up of elders, chiefs, kings, youths, women, from all the various ethnic groups, observed that if Tinubu did not nip this in the bud, there will be a crisis in the Niger Delta, which will not be in the interest of Niger Delta and the federal government. Niger Delta is the economic nerves of this country. And so the elders, the leaders of Pande felt, if the situation degenerates to the era where oil production dropped from 2.5 billion to 700 into a advanced tenor, it will not go well. Most should know that the country is highly indebted and we are in the economic backlog. So we went to advise Mr. President to intervene as PANDEF. Not only the Niger Delta crisis, you will agree with us that Mr. President has signed all the other regional development commission, but he refused to sign the South-Side Development Commission. And so we went there to tell him, look, there's difference between NDDC and the South-Side Development Commission. Make instances, NDDC comprises even part of Southwest and part of Southeast. It's basically for the oil producing states, which implies that any oil producing state can be part of NDDC. We even advise him to change the name possible to UMPADI. We also asked Mr. President to look into the Bakassi secession to Cameroon and see how the resettlement program can carry out for the people of Bakassi. We went further to complain about our ports, how our ports are not working, from Calabar Port to an airport, to Port Harcourt Port, to Jazda Port. They are not, all of them are not functioning. And so Mr. President should do something to ensure that our ports are functioning. We reminded Mr. President of physical federalism, what he has been fighting for all this while. and that they should look into it if they want Nigeria to grow. And we did other discussions. We did not only dwell on River State, but River State became the center of this plan. And he said, he intervened in this matter, but they did not obey his instruction. And some of us took him to court. I am very proud to say that I and my colleagues went to court to challenge this injustice. Because from the tune of Mr. President and the Supreme Court, it's like the Supreme Court was doctored to go in line with the Atlanta agreement. It was very obvious that Supreme Court went out of their way to even make pronouncement on issues that are not before them, which is not a proper thing to do. But that notwithstanding, the Supreme Court is the highest court. Mr. President has directed us to advise him to implement the Supreme Court judgment. And we have spoken with him, and he said he will comply with the Supreme Court judgment. But that, when after he has said this, the Wike group are still frustrated. The Supreme Court still present the budget. He has been to the assembly, he has written to them, he went to the assembly quarters to present the